This is my 1998 Volvo 940 Turbo. I've owned this car for almost 3 years now, and unfortunately it's become time for me to sell it. And I feel like this is one of those cars that I'm gonna really regret that I sold, because I think this is one of the best cars from the 90s you can get. It has its own character. So today I'm gonna take you on a tour and a review to show you why my thoughts are correct on this. One of the reasons why I love this Volvo is because it's so unique in every perspective. You can see here, for example, down to the styling, nothing else looks like this. You may say that it's kind of ugly, and I'd have to agree with you, but it does have a certain, I don't know, it's really grown on me. And I think that this is one of the better looking cars from the 90s actually. Now, Volvo's always been known for their safety, but along that, they've also been known for being a bit different, a bit crazy, 240 turbo. It's an insane car, won a lot of race championships and all that. But this car right here features a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged with 165 horsepower stock. But these are really tunable. Then it's got a manual 5-speed and then rear wheel drive. And this has a factory locking diff as well. You can see these are your keys. So you have just a regular key and then this key fob, which works electronically for both the alarm and the locking. But it works about half the time, so most of the time I just use the key. Now, I'd have to argue that this is a rather classy looking key. And that is carried on to the interior. So to open the door, you don't have a regular handle because this is Volvo. So you have this small piece inside here. I know some other manufacturers also used it. It's really weird, but I dig it, and listen to it. And then closing. That sounds expensive. Now, when you are sitting in the interior and you want to get out, you pull this switch back and the door opens. Simple as that. Personally, I really like the look of this interior. It just feels classy and elegant, and with the wood trims and all. It's a nice place to sit. These seats are so comfortable. It's like sitting in an old sofa. You just sink right in. If you're ever in a nice 940, start just playing around with all the settings, because these buttons feel really expensive and really nice to adjust. Same goes for over here. Got heated mirrors on this thing. How about that? And everything just feels so good. Along with the blinker stock. And this is really weird. Typical Volvo. For the windshield wiper, most cars have that one click up is slow, one more click is faster, 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 Some weird cars have it down. But this Volvo is different. Slow is up. If you go back one, that's nothing. And then one down is a bit faster, and then the bottom is super fast. I don't know whose decision it was, but there you go. Yet another weird quirk in here is, as you can see, the airbag is taking up the whole center of the wheel. That's reserved for the airbag. So you don't have a horn here. Instead, you have these two buttons you press on the side for horns. I don't know, it's super weird. I always go to the center when I'm supposed to honk, but it doesn't do anything. Anyway, have a listen to how it sounds. So, that's what the horn sounds like in a Volvo from the 90s. Hey, yeah. Along with other quirky little things, you have no cup holder in the car. However, if you open the glove compartment, which opens very weirdly, you can see you have two cup holders. I don't know what you call those, but it's very, very odd, very Volvo. If we move on to the gauge cluster, you can see it's a rather simple layout. On the furthest left, you have the gas gauge. Then you have a clock, speedometer in the middle. One to the right is... No, you can't come in here. Go away, you! And then there you have the tach and then the temperature, coolant temperature. It's really simple, but my favorite gauge is this one. You can see turbo. So that's a built-in boost gauge. If we move back to the trunk, you can see it's full of shit. But it's rather big actually. It's not all that deep because you have the rear wheel drive under here and there. But it's a good volume. I mean, it's a big car. This car is about 5.3 meters long. I don't know what that is in feet. I'll put it in right here. Getting under the hood is very easy. You can pull a latch in the driver's foot compartment. And then you just have a latch here, like you always do. Goes up like that. And as you can see, you've got a massive engine bay, where it's this small 2.3 liter inline four sits. Maintenance on this, not a problem. I've changed the head gasket, no problem. With any bolts, you couldn't get to anything like that. I love tinkering with this thing. Now, if we shift our focus to the hood for a bit, you can see a quite ingenious solution. It can open this far, and then this bump stop hits. But you can fold that down, and now you can open the hood 90 degrees. And that comes in handy a lot. But it's a Volvo, so you never really have to get under the hood. However, since this features a B230, which is highly tunable, for about 500 bucks you could get it up to 250 to 300 wheel horsepower. So that is incredibly nice. And since it's an iron block and an aluminum head, it means this thing lasts forever. Not to disappoint you, the only mods I have is a cold air intake and an exhaust. So let's start this thing up, let you hear it. I personally think that sounds awesome. It's really deep, really growly, not too loud, some subtle pops and bangs. It's right on the money. So we're now inside the Volvo. Gonna get up here, do acceleration. Sounds glorious, and it moves just as well. Now, mind you, this is not a sport car or anything like that. It was intended to be a comfy cruiser, which that's basically what it is. Once you get in here, there's more luxury, and I don't know, the seats are soft and the suspension's soft, everything like that, but it's got a nice motor, a lot of torque. You just ride the wave of torque. And it's got a real nice chassis as well. So it's a really good combination of that, in my opinion. And they're really good drift missiles as well. I actually had one of these a few winters back as my winter beater. So if you want to see me drift a 940, you can go check that out. But now, actually, let's do a pull from 0 so you can hear it. Well, I hope you hear it, because it sounds glorious. like I said, it's not a sport car by any means at all. It weighs quite a bit. It's a large car, like I mentioned previously, but it does move very nice, and you can feel exactly what the car is doing and what it can do. But yeah, it's a really humble car to just drive around in. Like I said, you could either build really nice drift cars out of these or just keep them as cruisers. I'm probably gonna get another 940 in the future, a really shit one. Just throw a bunch of power at it, weld the diff, hydraulic e-brake, all of that. Got the interior, everything. So stay tuned for that if you like 940 content. And then I love the subtlety of the backfires, because you can hear it has backfires, but they're not overly exaggerated. They're pretty quiet, pretty tame. Still go fast with it through the corners. You just have to be careful because obviously you have a lot more weight. Running on the back roads at the moment, just some twisties, and I mean this thing handles well in the twisties. I mean, it's not overly fast. A modern Volvo is probably as fast, but it's not as connected, it's not as raw. If you're looking for a fun, little bit different project car, I would highly suggest a 940. They are a bit ugly, but then again, I get a lot of compliments on this car. Just keep a steady cruise. This car really just kicks back. You can just sit here, relax, enjoy the ride. Fuck. That was a bit faster than I'm willing to admit. And that's the thing with this. You just keep your foot floored, keep your smile wide, and you just get to these speeds without even knowing it. It's like, wow, okay. And also I love how this thing revs, because it gets more power the higher you rev it, like a naturally aspirated car. Well over 100. That every time you let off the gas, and I love how you can hear all the suction going on in the intake. Partly due because I have a sport filter, which probably doesn't give me any horsepower, but I get a lot of cool sounds. But also just the way this car was built, it's an entirely different era. You can hear everything happen in the engine, the air flowing faster. It's really cool. This is a car that's exactly the right amount of complicated. What I mean by that is, it's a car, it's a simple car. Yet it still has these nice modern things such as AC, you have power, heated mirrors and stuff like that. So it's not bare bones Honda Civic, you know. It's still, I could call this riding in luxury. Old luxury then of course, but luxury nonetheless. Since it's such a big car, if you want to learn to drift or something like that, it's the perfect platform. more inertia to move the rear of the car, so you have more response time. And that's really good for beginning or for just pushing the limits. Yeah, buy a 940. Because Volvos are cool. And if you can find one in good shape, they look particularly awesome as well. Especially in silver. The thing is, the brake, the clutch, the gas, everything is where you would expect it to be. Everything responds like you would expect it. The gear shift is extremely nice. It's a little bit lighter. Wait. Yeah, like I said, the shifter's a bit lighter than you'd like, but it's notchy. It's got a good feel. You always know where the gears are. And I mean, the pedals are nice offset, so you can heel toe as well. I don't know, I've been doing it all along once I've been driving. I don't know if you can hear that, or we'll see. And then with that exhaust, when you get the perfect downshift and it backfires. This car, man. Gonna miss it. But that's just how life goes. You gotta move on. Gotta make way for new things. Old things are awesome, but what's the point of living if you don't experience new things? And however sad I am to let this car go, I know that the replacement will be so much sweeter. So it's totally worth it. And stay tuned if you want to know what that is. So there we have it, guys. My first review ever. And if you're thinking about buying a 940, that means you're thinking the right way. So if you feel like this video has helped you at all to make that decision easier, please be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Comment something if you want. Sad to see her go, but times change. Well, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for staying till the end. Until next time, take care.